The first two speakers both have highlighted essential aspects of digitalization and sovereignty in several different areas. And I think now we really start to understand how complex is this topic. And we are very pleased that Paula Zacarias, Secretary of State for EU Affairs of Portugal, is also here with us and will expand on some of the most important programs of the Portuguese presidency in the context of the future of Europe. Madam State Secretary, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, dear Minister Judith Vargas, dear Commissioner, the Parliament, members of the panel, and good morning also to all. So it is very interesting, my participation in the organization of this conference on the future of Europe in the context of the digital transformation and this dialogue on the digital European Union. As you've mentioned, Madam, we had the first plenary of the Conference on the Future of Europe in Strasbourg last Saturday, and we had also a debate with European citizens online already on the 17th of June from Lisbon, with the presence of the three co-chairs of the conference. And in this first meeting of the European citizens, the issue of the double transition, the green and the digital transition, the relevance of these double transitions and the challenges that it brings about to our life and to the has been raised by several of the citizens that were with us in Lisbon. Very interesting domain of how can we make the digital domain greener, avoiding emissions from the big data centers, for instance. How can we make the whole digital environment more sustainable? And at the same time, how can we use the digital domain to make the world more sustainable and greener? So, and I think that for all the participants, digitalization was seen as a priority, as a policy priority of the Union, and that needs a debate from the citizens. So it's really important to discuss these matters at the level of citizens and with also members of parliament and members of different governments across Europe and other stakeholders. The digital transformation presents to us all a challenge and certainly an opportunity. And the role, the digital transition can be a driver of EU economy recovery, fostering new forms of growth and strengthening the EU resilience. And as it was already said, the pandemic accelerated the pace of this digitalization with more effective use of digital technologies, and this will enable Europe to address its key challenges and could help its citizens to have a better quality of life. For this, we need, first of all, a well-functioning single market, removing justified barriers to the free movement of goods and services. It's of paramount importance, and to establish a really e-market that can function at the level of the EU. Then the pandemic also showed the relevance of public services. If it was not for public services, it would have been very difficult for us all to overcome the pandemic. And the more digital this public... So I was talking about the need, the relevance of the single market. Then I mentioned the relevance of our public administration being digital to serve better the citizens in terms of health, in terms of education, in terms also of the financial services, and in terms of justice. The third point that I would like to make is the need for more innovation and boost the innovative process in Europe, getting new technologies. The third point is the need for autonomy, more autonomy in the terms of the value chains in Europe, paying particular attention to the micro and SMEs. They are essential part of the economic ecosystem, and we need to make sure that they profit from this digitalization. At the same time, we know that this process is exposing also our vulnerabilities, and we need to take care of this impact of disinformation and digital fraud and bring about a better cybersecurity ecosystem that allows us to answer to this hybrid threats that we have all been experiencing. And with this, we also need to ensure our independence from third parties and our ability to become more autonomous in terms of the digital domain in the European Union. This need is, we need to reflect on this and debate on how the EU can become more autonomous and more resilient. And so during the Portuguese presidency of the European Union, we have discussed a lot on all these aspects, and we hope that we have advanced the digital agenda. This is particularly important in terms of digital skills, bringing the capacity for our young people, for our older generation also, to become more digital competent. And we need to increase the digital education and the digital performance of our citizens. Then we also need, in this context, to reinforce, as I was saying, our strategic autonomy through strengthening the international connectivity. We need to have better connectivity, and this means, for instance, better submarine cables, satellites, network links for increased and secure data exchange. And during our presidency, we were able to inaugurate the ELA link cable that will connect Europe to Latin America. And this is really also something that we need to continue working at the EU level. Then we also worked on the area of creating a secure digital identity. I think this is a very important element also for our citizens. Our presidency is also committed to strengthen the European entrepreneurship, as Commissioner Gabriel just mentioned. During the Digital Day, we have agreed on a declaration on EU startup standards, and as a very important element to support new startups, particularly in the digital realm in the European Union. And finally, last but not least, the importance of rights, the importance of ensuring that we take on board the digital rights, strengthening the human dimension of the digital ecosystem by promoting digital literacy, democratic values, citizen rights and freedoms, and international cooperation as crucial conditions for a trustful and competitive digital world. So all in all, if we speak about digitalization and sovereignty, I would say that we need to invest in technological transformation of the EU to achieve digital sovereignty and strategic autonomy of the Union vis-à-vis third countries. At the same time, at the core of this transformation and at the core of this autonomy is people. And so we need to invest in people. We need to invest in digital education. This is fundamental. And it's fundamental to ensure also their rights, their capacity, their possibilities to accede to the digital world protected in a protected environment. So we need to identify key technologies and developing common roadmaps to enhance European capabilities, supply chain diversification, and security by reducing this dependency. It is very important in this context, finally, that we, once more, I say this, to continue deepening our internal market. This is our biggest asset in economic terms. We need to do this, and we need to make sure that the data that we exchange is protected. Finally, I would end with this idea that we need to defend at the same time multilateralism, the establishment of partnerships with several regions of the globe, and the sharing of efforts in search of common objectives on the set of principles, on the code of conduct that puts the digital world with human vision at its center. This is the appropriate way to pursue our interests and at the same time promote democratic values and sustainability and innovation. Thank you very much.